Persperity Podcast. In the shadows we find our light. Through the struggles we will take flight. Healing hearts and mending minds. Together we'll leave the past behind. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Oh yeah. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Trauma whispers, but love will shout. In this space of trust, there's no doubt. We'll explore the depths of pain and grace, finding strength in every embrace. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Take a breath and join the ride. Together we'll walk side by side with open hearts and open minds. In this podcast space, true peace we'll find. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma.
All right, everybody. Um, Welcome back to Persperity Podcast. Of course, I'm gonna do my spiel, but before I do my introduction, did you have an opportunity, Latoya, to send the link out to whoever you're needing to send it out to?
I did, thank you. And that is a whole bop. It's like I was like over here, like, hey, that's how you kick it off.
Thank you. The One of the theme song concept was to be able to give people the comfortability,
Mhm.
before they get on, get the moving and dancing, whatever. But also, I want it to be unique and different from all the other typical podcasts. But
Mission accomplished.
thank you, thank you. All right, so let me get into this introduction. Welcome back to Persperity Podcast. Today, we're pulling at the unseen threads, how overcoming personal adversity feels authenticity. This is a conversation about the invisible struggles that weave together the strongest, most genuine version of ourselves. We are honored to welcome a voice who embodies this journey, the insightful and resilient Latoya Jones. Get ready for a discussion that will define your understanding of strength. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this inspiring episode on YouTube. Latoya, welcome to Persperity.
Oh man, thank you. What a beginning. I'm like, oh, I better bring the heat tonight. She didn't hype me up, but I am so honored and just, feel so gracious for the opportunity to join. Thank you so much.
You welcome. The crazy thing is that I did not know who you were when we sit on the panel when we did when we did the speaking engagement with Dr. Treadell Wade.
Hmm.
I didn't know that you were that Jones until I saw you share some behind
Oh, yeah. Yes, my grandparents. Yes. Just an amazing legacy. So, yes, proud third generation. And we celebrated 75 years of business and we got a committee together and did a whole bunch of stuff in like a short amount of time. So, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Wow. And I think my godmom, her name's Miss Freeman. I think she is it your brother you took a picture with? What's his name? On
Probably, yeah. Larnell. Hmm.
Yeah. She knows him. So I was like, this is a small world. But it's
Small world. It's crazy. And it's so funny because we can't go anywhere because he's probably buried a good portion of people's families in Kansas City. So everywhere we go, people are stopping. It's so funny. And it's like I just kind of fall back like, hey, that's how you keep it going. So obviously he does a great job. But yeah, everywhere we go, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, this was really awesome. So
Yes, yes. Well, I'm honored to have you on the podcast. I mean, that's your name is Legacy. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Honored to be here.
but before we get into these questions, you have a couple businesses. Shout them out. Let's let everybody
Mhm.
know how they can get in contact with you if they need any of your services.
Absolutely. So most people know me as the owner of 79 Rose Boutique, which I started about 10 years ago almost, and I wanted to provide a space for women with curves. And so I had oh, I love O'Neill. That is my friend. That's so funny. So I had a good run, good 8-year run. I had a physical space out here in Olathe, and I started it because I wanted to provide a affordable, fashionable, but like a body positive, safe zone for everybody. And so I had to move out my brick and mortar location. I think this time last year, so I moved online, and then through that whole process, I learned about another wellness initiative that was needed, and that's really just the message of body positivity and letting people know that you are your own beauty standard. You don't have to fit into a size. So, my background is one of my new part can't see, but my background, my new initiative is that pretty at any size, and it's a wellness initiative. Like just what I said, really teaching women just to love their bodies just as they are. And so you can follow me at 79 Rose, Rose with a Z, 79 ROZE on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, you name it, at 79 Rose. And then I do have a website, 79rose.com.
79 Rose, ROSE.
ROZE, Rose with a Z.
Okay,
ROZE. Mm-hmm.
.com, 79rose.com.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Put that on the screen. And then you
Thank you.
your social media is
Yep.
at
At 79 Rose. On really every all channels.
got you. Right. I got you up there. Okay, you ready to run to these questions?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. Your episode is titled The Unseen Threads. When you reflect on your personal adversity, what is the unseen thread that was woven into your life that ultimately became your greatest strength?
Oh, unseen thread. I would go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. The question is
Unseen thread that was wove into, I would say, the feeling of being worthy and not to compare myself to other people, if that makes sense. So, especially in this day and age of like social media, like you always want to be like seen as the best person, the coolest, the most popular, and kind of just like being a short person, going through life, kind of struggling with my own, kind of how I started my brand, my own issues with, body positivity and fluctuation of weight and things like that. I just had to like learn through the process that I look how I'm supposed to look, and I am who I'm supposed to be, and I'm not supposed to look like anybody else. And it took some time, and I'm still going through that process. I can't say I accomplished it, but I think it's just that time of like finding myself and focusing on the things that I bring to the table versus on we get so much pressure on how you look, how you look, how you look. Really, and it's really like my grandma used to have a saying, my grandma used to have a saying, people leave people better how you found them.
yeah.
And, like, focusing on that stuff than the insecurities of being short or short arms or this belly, just the things that really don't really matter. So, I would say just that whole journey of body positivity and self-love just made me realize how much worthy I am, as a human, and my light is to share that story so other people will get it.
I like that. I like that. Part two of that question. When you saw the title of the episode, that you're supposed to be on, how did you feel? And what did you think?
Oh, I was like, oh, I was just like, I'm gonna have to pull back some onion layers tonight, because it's like about being authentic, right? So things that you overcame to be authentic, right? And I think I was like, whoa, I'm gonna have to dig deep and not be surface, because that's the part of the whole podcast is healing people, helping people heal.
Because I was thinking, I'm like, she probably thinking, how did she get this title? She didn't even ask me what we was gonna
I
talk
did
about.
think that. I did think that. I was like, I didn't have no questions sent to me in advance. I didn't have anything, you know what? And it was like, you know what? I done enough of these. And I know, and I that I could like it's gonna be part of the conversation.
Yeah, because like how I set it up is full authenticity. It's important that people get real world, real time answers, and we just keep it full authentic. I only know the questions, but also when it comes to the title itself, God blesses me. He gives me that understanding of what that topic should be. That's designated to that actual individual. I have every episode I've ever had was a title that God has given me, and that day and that time was always directed towards that person. So I just genuinely believe that that's God saying that, hey, it's time to unpack it, or better yet, that somebody is watching and they need to hear what you have to say.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's smart, right? Because like you do have people like you don't get to rehearse,
Mhm.
right? You don't get to think of you don't get to use Chat GPT or anything, right before you got to think off the dome, right, and from the heart. So I think it's smart.
Mhm. Yep. And I love because people they go back and watch themselves and they be like, oh, I should have said that better. But
Hmm.
also they go back and they just be like, wow, look at
Hmm.
me. So yeah, I love that experience is giving people that experience. But let's move on to another question.
Okay.
How do you define authenticity now compared to how you would have defined it before you overcame your greatest personal challenge?
Ooh, how do I define it now? I think it's authenticity now is just showing up genuinely, no airs. What is Justin Bieber has that song "Picture Perfect"? You don't need no filter. Like and thinking about it from like how you enter a room. Like if you having like a bad hair day, you throw in a hat, you still walk in. You don't got to rush and do things like that. I think you just show up genuine who you are, how you talk, how you speak, how you feeling, right? Because you might be having a bad day. You can come in and say, you know what, I need a moment.
Mhm.
Let me collect myself, collect my thoughts, and I'll be right back. And I think, it's showing that human side of you everywhere you go. And I think that we, again, in this world of social media, I think we've been conditioned to be perfect. I don't want to say fake, but just to put on airs. Like what they say, you floss for the gram, do it for the gram, whatever. And being authentic means you do it for yourself.
Right.
You show up as a human, you show up whole, and you just speak, genuinely.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Great response. I like that. Okay. So, was there a point where you realized that trying to hide or smooth over your adversity was more exhausting than simply being honest about your journey?
Oh, yeah. I think that, working with customers and working, dressing women, I've been dressing women for like 20 years, right?
Mhm.
And so kind of like I know like what size you wear before you tell me, things like that. And I think that dealing with my own body insecurities
Mhm.
and things that I was struggling with helped me connect better with my customer, if that makes sense. Help me to communicate better with my customers, right? So it's like, let's not focus on, and that's how kind of I got the tagline, like let's not focus on um how you look. Let's focus on how this dress or this outfit makes you feel, right? Let's focus on the experience you want people to see when you walk into a room. So let's not care about short legs or your arms being out or your stomach or whatever that insecurity you have. Let's focus on you showing up looking and feeling great. And that's because I had to go through that myself, right? So I was like, I have to practice what I preach to my customers. I can't be fake and telling them one thing, right? And so when I learned to accept myself as I was and all the and just and not even I don't want to call them insecurities. That's just how I was made. I was made short, whatever. You know what I mean? So and instead of focusing on the things I didn't like about myself, I started focus on the things I do love about myself. And I was able to like again better connect and have a genuine experience with my customers. And that's one thing I think that made me stand out from other brands. People say it's the service, right? So when you became a customer, it's like like we became family, right? So it's like I'm not just telling you something. I want to see you before you walk out. Send me a picture, make sure make sure you look good and feel, because you at that point you a brand ambassador for me. When you go out. So I think me dealing with, again, I'm just gonna repeat myself. Me dealing with my own insecurities about body image helped me better to connect and help my customers with their issues with their body
Nice.
or concerns or whatever they had going on.
I like that. Beautifully said. Being able to identify yourself before helping others is very important. But
Hmm.
just knowing the fact that you know what you know before the customer even tells you says a
Hmm.
lot about that is a part of your calling. You have a purpose
Hmm.
found that connects with other people. So that's beautiful. I like that.
I received. Thank you.
All right, next question. In what ways has the process of overcoming adversity forced you to confront and shed parts of your identity that were simply masked?
Ooh, I think we talked about being genuine and showing up genuine. I think it allowed me to be vulnerable. you know and I think like my day job is very professional. Like I'm an HR director by trade, so I have to be have a high level of emotional intelligence really all the time, right? Because people have people. And so I think like dealing with my own insecurities and things like that just allowed me to show up being vulnerable, right? And just allow people to see like the real Latoya, not the person I was sitting in the room, because I felt like I needed to be professional and all buttoned up and everything, but just really showing like, you know what, I have feelings too. I have struggles too. I have rough mornings. So I think really tapping into that vulnerability and being okay with that. I come from, I feel like probably gonna date myself, but I feel like I come from the generation where we were taught to like code switch at work, and just do different things to assimilate and fit in. Right. And I think now I'm at an age where I'm starting to unlearn some of those things that I was taught, and being like, again, I think it's that level of vulnerability that I learned that it's okay, again, to say, like, you know what, I think I says, I'm having a bad day. I need a moment. Can you give me, a second? Or can we circle back around that and talk about that when I'm at a better mental space? And I feel like 10 years ago we wouldn't have been talking like that, right? It's been like power through, focus, push through, push through, push. It's like, no, we're humans and we need to allow ourselves and show that to other people. I feel like I'm rambling? Did I answer the question?
You did. There's no perfect way on Persperity Podcast to answer a question. If you sometimes it's monologue, sometimes dialogue. If you want to talk the whole time, you can talk the whole time. So there's no perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Keep going if you want to go. It's fine.
Oh no, that was it. I think I was gonna say like the vulnerability and being able to show, myself in really a array of emotions, and not having to be feel like you got to be stoic or you got to be all buttoned up. It's like, no, you can just share what's going on in that moment if it's appropriate.
So you said something that I want to touch on.
Hmm.
Do you feel that when people have gone through things that they feel that they have to be stoic?
I think some things, yes, I think so, because um there's and I think we know this. There are stages to healing, right? And I think there is, like, when you've reached and you're fully healed from something, there's the idea that you don't have triggers, and you've dealt with everything,
Mhm.
So I think that repeat the question. Repeat the question.
So I'm saying, like, do you feel that people have to be stoic, like based because they've gone through things?
Yeah, I feel like there's still this idea that even though you've been through something, you need to mask it, or you need to just move on, right? Even if you haven't unpacked it, or even you healed from it, it's like there's still like this mask that people want you, to wear. And it could be they want you to be happy all the time, or they want you to be fake, or they want you to. So yes, I think or stoic or whatever. I think depending on the situation, there is sometimes a weird, I want to say, assumption or expectation for you to put on a facade.
Wow, that's really good. Because I was walking through my healing journey, and I still am, because I've been through so much. I always felt that because I only knew anger, I wore that anger. That
Mhm.
frustration is like, I'm nobody do you mess with, stay away from.
Mhm.
But now I'm realizing that, because I was born in the 90s, but I'm realizing now, and it's like I'm meeting a lot of people, younger and older, that they're just like straightforward, nonchalant, stoic type vibes. Like, nothing's wrong with me. I'm perfectly fine.
Mm. Mhm.
That's just that. And I'm like, whoa. I mean, that looks much better than what I was holding on for myself, which was anger and frustration, which is that's what I knew. But they're
Mhm.
handling it, and they're just flowing around people, and no one's saying nothing. They're just like, that's just their personality. In reality, they're crying when they're by themselves. They're feeling horrible about themselves, and they're very, very insecure. But you can't
Mhm.
tell because when they're around, they're outgoing. They're stoic. They look like they don't show emotions or whatever that is. So,
Yeah, there's a phrase I heard a long time ago. It says everything is communicated.
mm,
Everything is communicated. So even if you feel like you are putting on a mask and have to be stoic to push through, it's gonna come out in some kind of other kind of way, right? If you don't have a healthy release
mm,
or a healthy way to, I think I'm just learning this too, to regulate your nervous system, right? Everything is communicated. So it might come out like, let's say you had a bad day, you come home and you snapping at your kids or your spouse or whoever that person is, right? Or snap, or you may have a bad morning and you snap at, your coworkers, or um, you spent the whole day being fake and you just go home and cry, or whatever that is, right? Everything is gonna get communicated in some capacity.
yeah, beautiful response. Thank you. Thank you for answering it. All right. Next question. What is the biggest fear you had to conquer in order to live openly and authentically in the wake of your triumph?
This gonna be such a silly one. Speaking in public, communicating, like, and I still like public speaking, like when we were on that panel together, I was so nervous, right? And I've been on so many panels and done so many things, but I think it is, um and I still have it, right? Jump, like, for a long time, I had the idea to do these Instagram lives for a
Mhm.
long time, and I just, out of fear, I didn't do it. Like, and then I started doing it, people like, "Oh my gosh, like, can you do more of these?" So I think it's like getting in your own head. I think is because, like, again, I'm an HR professional by day, so like I'm worried about how do I sound, am I using the right words, right? And it's like, no, just get on and talk. And if your hair's not done, put a hat on and get on and talk. And you don't got to be all whatever, just get on and talk. And I think, and now I can do it, right? Like now I don't, have, but for a long time, that fear of just like speaking and shit and using my voice, it's taken me a long time to learn my voice. And so I would say anybody that's watching, I would just say, just do it. Just do it. You don't gotta have the best ring light. You don't gotta do whatever. Just do it because there is somebody out there who's only gonna hear the message from you.
That
And once I learned that, it was like, okay. So you can say it with the bad English or the broken English or whatever you're going through. You might be emotional in that moment, but there is somebody who's only gonna hear from you. So just move. So I would just say that's what I had to overcome. It's just like the public speaking and the get out of my head about the perfection that I needed to be on camera to get,
okay. Beautifully said. You speaking to me because I had to go through some stuff. I'm like, I don't know. All right, God, I hear you, but I don't know about being in front of people. People may not watch me. People may misunderstand me. People might take
right.
the way I was acting, that I was trying to protect myself. They may take it the wrong way and be like, why should I watch her or whatever? So I had to push through that now to realize ain't none of this about me. It's about y'all.
Say
Stand
that again for the people in the back. The message ain't about you. It's, it is.
yeah.
And it's interesting. I was following Kamala Harris, and I think it was on her trail.
Mhm.
And it was a young lady that asked her a question about public speaking, whatever, like, what makes you so confident? And she said the best thing. She was like, if depending on what the situation is, right? She was like, if I have to get up and address the nation because we had a crisis or we had or something, she was like, do you think the people care about my hair or them about my suit? No, they want to know what is going on, and that it's the message. And it was just kind of like, it just kind of further solidified that it's not about this, it's about what you're saying, right? Like, this podcast is amazing and it's going to reach so many people and will continue to as you grow. And and when you have people coming on to speak authentically, right? So I think it's the message. And like, and then how you just talked about, you think God gives you the topic for that person to share, and you don't share it because you want people to show up authentic. Anyway, I just long way to answer the question, but I just say it's about the message. So I had to get over the fear of public speaking, being on camera, trying to enunciate my words or sit up a certain kind of way. It's like, go just get on there and share what you got on what's on your heart.
This is a safe space for people healing from trauma or people that want to come on and encourage people that have gone through trauma. This is just a safe space. And I've been,
Yeah,
no one has came in and said anything or done anything. It's just safe.
right, absolutely. And I feel safe. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so let's roll into another question.
Okay.
How has the process of facing your adversity directly impacted both positively and negatively on your mental health journey?
Oh, I think that can you repeat the question? I'm formulating it, but I want to make sure I answer it. Can you repeat again? Sorry.
How has the process of facing your adversity directly impacted both positively and negatively on your mental health journey?
Mm. So I would say positively, like accepting myself, like dealing with my own body image issues, enabled me to um communicate my feelings, like, very just better, being able to communicate. Like, I'm a person, like, you know, like, I hide everything, like, hold everything close to the vest or whatever. And so going through that kind of journey with my own process has helped me to be able to articulate what I was feeling, right? And so I can be able to, give the message to others, right? So I think that's the plus, my mental health, right? Just clearing out my head, getting out of my head. That's what I'm trying to say. Getting out of my head from a mental health perspective, right? And not holding on. And then that's a positive. I say the opportunity might be, I'm still prone to overthink, right? To overthink
Yeah.
things, overthink, like, okay, just like, am I expressing myself too much? Did I use my hand too much? You know what I mean? So I think, like, that's the downside of being able to articulate my feelings and my emotions and kind of being able to process where I'm at. And I'm like, okay, am I over communicating? Am I over doing it? Am I getting on people's nerves? So I think that's the plus and the minus.
You speaking to me. That's what I be feeling. Everybody just be like, relax, calm down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. It's different hearing somebody else say that
Yeah.
walk through, and I'm literally trying to do my best to walk through that now.
Right. Am I oversharing? Am I turning somebody off? And just so yeah.
Because then I'll shut down and they'll be like, you all right? No, because I feel like I done said and did too much. Do you hate me? Do you still love me?
You still love me? Are we connected? Did you see me? Did
Right.
you see me?
If anything, it'd probably be like, you know what? I got this thing where I just joke one thing. It ain't really a joke. I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna run. You know what I mean? Type thing where it's just like, you know what? I know you feel this way. You're not telling me you feel this way, so I'm out of here. And they just like, no, it's okay. I'm like, all right,
Yeah. Like, fall
okay,
back, chill out. Yeah.
relax, relax.
Relax.
What does relaxing mean? But
Yeah.
yeah. All right, next question. What crucial steps did you take to transform the shame or pain associated with your past into self compassion and resilience?
Oh, you know what? And I'm still going through this process now, but I started learning what God says about me, how he sees me, what like what in Jeremiah, I knew you, when you were in the womb, right? And so even when I teach my body positivity, like I kind of have two tracks, one for church and one not for church, right? Because just to be respectful of everybody's opinion, but it's like if you're a Christian and you really believe in God, there's no reason why you can't love your body, because it said God made man and it was good. That's a mic drop. So if you made me in your image
Mm-hmm.
and you said it was good, how can I not like how I look? It doesn't even. So am I saying God's a liar? Am I saying that I don't believe in God? You know what I mean? So once I started learning what God says about me, that was part of the healing journey for me. Right. And I said what they say, study to show yourself approved. Right. And so, and I'm in just a different journey spiritually right now. But it's like, where those scriptures say? And there's a ton of scriptures that I have when you talk about being made in God's image and how he sees you, the apple of his eye. Like he knows how many hairs are on our head. Like marinate on that, right? So again, if he says it's good and I'm made in his image, and he even knows the hairs on my head, and he already predestined my purpose, and he knew everything I was going to go through, how
Mm-hmm.
can I not like myself? And that was part of my healing journey. How can I not like myself? Again, if I'm a Christian and I believe the word, how can I not like myself? Because God made me and he said it was good. Mic drop. So I
Okay.
can't compare myself to the other girl. I can't compare myself to the other woman. I'm not supposed to look like that. He made me in his image to look like this. And that's why I tell my customers, you are your own beauty standard, boo.
Okay.
You're your own beauty standard.
I love that. Okay. She preaching a sermon, y'all. She preaching a
Oh,
sermon. I love it. I love it. Oh, rolling into that next question. If your mental health is the foundation of your authenticity, what are the non-negotiable self-care practices you use to keep that foundation strong?
you know what? It is what they say: garbage in, garbage out.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I got to cough real fast. Hold on.
Okay.
Garbage in, garbage out. What I had to learn was I had to one, stop comparing myself. When I had to be mindful of what I was allowing in my spirit, and that was the stuff I was watching. And I still got some guilty pleasures, but some stuff I was watching, the stuff I was reading, the stuff I was like allowing to be in my circle, my mental circle, and I started to think like each morning, of course, I get up, I have my devotion, and I pray. And then I started going to bed with the same devotion in my spirit, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's just to have a spirit of peace. So I think non-negotiables for me is I stopped following people on social that I feel like I had to compare myself to. I stopped following people that just had negativity, you know? So I think it's for me, for my mental health, is what I allow in my sphere. And that includes the people too. So if you don't bring peace, then I'm okay removing myself from the situation. So non-negotiable for me is like, how does my spirit interact when I'm around you? Am I uptight? Do I feel like I can be authentic with this show? You know what I mean? And if it's not, then I'm gonna try to limit those interactions as much as I can. The world's not perfect. There's, life is life, whatever. But the things that don't bring me peace at this stage in my life, non-negotiables, you gotta go. That could be people, things, whatever that is. Like to me, if it doesn't bring me peace of mind, my mental health, if you making me feel a certain way, then you can't be in this atmosphere. You can't be over here. And again, being mindful of the things that I allow to come into, me, my spirit, things like that.
Mhm. So, how do you know difference? Because we have a lot of people that have gone through trauma, tumultuous circumstances, and they don't know any better. How do you, decipher between those people that don't know any better and those people that do know better? When they're non-negotiable.
Yeah, I would say really simple to me is like you know them by their fruits. To
Mm.
me, it's really simple, right? So
Yeah.
if you are
I'm
a
sorry, say that.
positive person,
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
you know them by their fruits. That's
Oh.
kind of how I judge, character. Not the judge. I'm not saying I judge because who am I to judge anybody? But I'm just saying, like, people's fruit speaks for them, right? So people they'll be like, I don't like all that drama. I don't like all this. But every time I'm around you, it's drama. That's your fruit. That's what you attract, right? Or
Mm,
people, that's the thing. Those are things that I'm mindful of when I'm around people. Like, what are people saying about you
mm,
consistently? Consistently. Sometimes people have it wrong and they say some wild stuff because whatever. But how are you consistently showing up? How do you affect the people around you?
mhm,
Right? Do people flock to you? Are you a light? Are you darkness? Again, I feel like that is to me the differentiate factor
mhm,
of people who know better and people who don't. Like, and I think unfortunately we live in a society where we have normalized a lot of dysfunction, and some people don't know because that's all they know. You know what I mean? Like that's all that they see, and even if they want to do better, they can't because we have normalized like seeing grown people fight on TV should never be acceptable. And I'm probably dating myself with some of this stuff I'm saying, but some of the things that we do, it's like, that's just so, it's like, no. And you wonder why, and this is the stuff that we are exposing our children to, right? You wonder why these kids are fighting in school because turn on these shows. Everybody fighting. Da, 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 da. These are rich people, wealthy people fighting and bickering. And you wonder why people look at black women a certain way, right? Because look what the images that we perceive. And so I think it's hard, but the person, what they say, knowledge isn't power, applied knowledge is power. And that's how you know somebody has grown, because when they can move differently because they learn how to move differently. That makes sense. So I need to go, the right way to go, and you're going that way versus like if you stuck, and unfortunately some people are will always be stuck. And that's just the way of the world. So I would think that's differentiating people who know better and people who are stuck. But it's just like there's a lot of things that we've normalized in society that now it's hard to walk back.
mhm.
It's hard to walk back some of those things, but I think again the fruits, the character. Like what do people say about you? What they say, what do people say about you when you're not in the room?
Mhm.
Consistently, right? Like that person is so and so, that person is this, that person is that, right?
Right.
Or, you know, yeah. I'm just fucking rambling. But
No,
yeah.
no, you on to something because it's like sometimes sometimes people could be misunderstood or misread or whatever that is. But also it's like I'm a type of person where if I'm in a room full of people and they complaining and they talking about somebody, I instantly pause because y'all not the type of people I want to be around. Because no one should be the one topic of anything. I'd be looking at that person individually. I'll be looking at them people because why that person must have so much power for you to feel so, you know, so compelled to say whatever you want to say, compared to
Right.
this one individual not being present to say whatever they want to say. So you decide you to say that. I don't. My biggest thing with knowing like my non-negotiable and who's going to be around or whatever it is how your authenticity. How do you
Ooh.
how do you handle a disagreement? How do you handle me if I say something the wrong way? How do you handle a circumstance if you feel some type of way? Will you come to me and handle the situation, or will you run to someone else and say something? I'm big on let's handle this If it gets to that sense, let's go to the next level. But a lot of people look at it as in, okay, this is this, and that, and then that's that. You know, meaning as in, if somebody's saying whatever they're saying, that's just what I'm gonna go off of, instead of all like looking at the bigger picture on how people handle circumstances. If you handle something messy, I don't want to deal with you. If I do something wrong and I hear Friday from someone else and you never try to work it out with me, that says a lot about you. That doesn't say a lot about me. Not saying I have issues with people, but it just says a lot. I watch people on how they handle people, because people have gone through so much in this world and we don't know what people have gone through.
We
So
don't know.
I'm
Be
not gonna
kind.
exactly be kind, because I'm not gonna look at that person and judge them. I'm going to still go off of my own personal feelings rather than what somebody else says, compared to, oh well, you said this person said that. Okay, you all feel so strongly. Have you went and talked to that person? That's the type of person I am. Don't tell me nothing that nobody said or nothing, because the first thing I'm gonna ask you is, have you addressed that with them first?
Look at the fruit.
Address it with them, because I'm
Look
a
at the fruit. Exactly. And then if you then you like the flights, that's how so much misinformation gets spread too. You heard something about somebody and it's like, did it happen to you, or like, or should you be aligning yourself with what's being said? I agree. I agree. And we have, yeah, I
yes.
totally agree. But let's
It's
be adults.
exactly. And adults the most messier than kids.
Ooh.
Because sometimes we don't know ourselves how we handle situations, predicaments in a messy way. We don't know when we handle it in an emotional way. And sometimes we not even handling it at all. We just sitting there just letting it be whatever it is. But I just
Hmm.
think if we're more in tune with less of what somebody is saying they did not, that you weren't present for, and
Hmm.
more actually understanding of the relationship you had with that person, it'd be better. You know what I mean? It'd be better. You know,
And
if somebody
like,
do nothing
yeah,
directly to you and you telling somebody else telling you something. If somebody ain't did nothing to me and you telling me somebody did something to me, let me feel this vibe out first. Because at that point you're telling me a whole bunch of stuff. Two to three people telling me the same thing does not determine how I feel about that one person. I gotta experience you myself.
absolutely. And being in the HR world, like a lot of even workplace conflict is just one mini disagreement or one mini miscommunication that could have been easily cleared up if you had to went to the person and talk to them before you went to talk to somebody else. So
You see, like you the HR person be like, okay, have you went and talked to them? I hear what you're saying. This sounds like
I
a huge
do.
concern, but I need you to go talk to them first.
Yeah. And say these three streams. I've been coaching people for like 20 years about what to say. Go back and say this. They come out, oh, Miss Rosa, thank you. Da, da, da. But it's like, yes, go back, you know.
That's really good. I like that. I like that. I'm sorry, we went on the whole floor about
I
that.
know it's okay. It's okay. Because somebody needs to hear it. Somebody watching needs to hear that. So
Yeah, and it's like I don't like people being bullied. You know what I mean? And I feel like some people don't understand. Have you ever dealt with that in the HR perspective, where you got like multiple employees saying something, and then you got this one employee that may be feeling some type of way, whatever, and then they just like it seems like they're attacking that individual. And it,
absolutely. It's the same old mean girl stuff from high school that goes back into the workplace. It's the same. The mean girl, mean boy. It's the same silliness from high school that still goes happens in the workplace all day. And I always sometimes I just be like, y'all are ridiculous. Y'all need more work to do.
that part, that part, that part. All right, so let's move on from that. Let's go into this next question. Adversity often involves loss. How did you grieve the
Mm,
person you were or the life you thought you would have to make space for the person you are now?
I had to grieve. I had to grieve the thought of perfection, of being perfect, right? I had to grieve that. I had to grieve this maybe this even this body that I thought I should have based on the society standard of beauty, right? So I do had it was a mindset change. Like you're not supposed to look like that. So it's just like or just again, it's grieving that feeling and that need for perfection. I'm a type A behavior type. I go ahead and admit it. And so being a planner and knowing and just like wanting things lined up, and life be life, and it will show you that that's not accurate. So I think grieving that perfect grieving not having that perfect image, if that makes sense.
Beautifully said. What advice would you give someone who is currently experiencing deep adversity but is struggling to see the potential for growth or authenticity on the other side?
You know what? This too shall pass. My grandfather Jones gave me the best advice I remember when I want to say I was probably in middle I was probably middle school, something like that. And he said our lives are like, think of a timeline, and everything that you go through is like the dash on a timeline, right? Everything you go through is a dash. So whatever you're going through now, you're gonna look back and you're gonna be three dashes down, like, you're gonna learn from it. Let's say you learn from it, or lose from it, whatever it is. But I would say anybody that's dealing with adversity, this too shall pass, and things do get better. And it might take a long time, but things do look better. So I would say if you're dealing with adversity right now, right, that's life. They say life is life, and life gon' life, right? So it's the perspective that you take into it. And so I would, if you're around negativity and people who are in your ear with negative stuff, I would start by finding one person that's not negative and start changing your circle little by little. If you're a person of faith, get into the word and understand, what did God say about it, right? Because everything we go through is already spelled. If you're a person of faith, how to handle is spelled out in the Bible. Every situation is spelled out in the Bible, right? If you're not a person of faith, it's still same thing. Find, it's gonna pass. Find a support circle that supports you. Sometimes we get in these spirals, and we say misery loves company, and we don't have the right people that's, to give us perspective. And so if everybody's telling you the same thing, to like, oh, woe is me, like, man, that's messed up, then you need to go find that one person that you can confide in that's going to give you a better perspective and hold you accountable, right?
Mhm.
So, like, I had to teach myself, when stuff happens, I was like, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? And once I started thinking, changing that frame of mind, it wasn't because I'm human. Like, oh, woe is me, and da 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 da. And sometimes it's just like, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? Because sometimes God will sit you in situations, and He will sit you and have you. I don't say wallow, but He'll keep you, make you still until you figure out that you're not in control, or that you don't run it, or whatever the lesson. What they say is either a lesson or a blessing. But
Mm.
sometimes he will sit you in spots, then he'll keep you there until you figure out the lesson. So then when I learned that, I'm like, okay, okay, okay. God, what's the lesson here? Okay, I got it. I got it. What do you want me to learn from this? So that's about what I would say. If anybody dealing with something, one, so many things, one, this too shall pass, right? And everything we go through, this is part of this podcast. Everything you go through, you have to be unselfish, because everything you go through is for the next person that you encounter. It's not for you, it's for you to tell your story to encourage somebody else. Because I feel like our human journey, like, me and you met months ago and we connected, right?
Mm.
Right. And I was just really intrigued by your story, right? And so I think, like, and I find that what you're doing very inspirational, right? And so I'm sharing it in my circle to share it with. Hopefully people keep sharing it, right? So your whole experience in life is not about you, as selfish as it may seem. It's about you encouraging somebody else, you being able to heal and
Mhm.
share. Like, this whole podcast is healing from traumas and sharing best practices, right? So that, what I think about is not that saying you're going to be on a podcast, whatever, who knows, but sharing how you got over it. That is the perspective, the future that you should be thinking, forward thinking. And sometimes some stuff is hard. Like, if you broke, you broke. When you broke financially, it's really hard to see the forest among the trees, right? But you're not gonna always, you have control of always being in a situation. So if
Mhm.
you keep coming across the same obstacles, Hard stop. Okay, this is my third time dealing with this. Clearly, I'm not learning from it, or clearly, I need to do. You know what I mean? Like we sometimes we become what's insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, thinking different results.
Mm-hmm.
Hard stop. Okay, this is the fourth time I encountered this. This is the fourth type of person or spirit or whatever. Okay, so what am I doing that I need to change? And that's a hard conversation. That's not easy. We become creatures of habit. The older that we get, the more stubborn we get, and dig our heels in. So you have to be very introspective on yourself.
Okay, she went to church. Yes, wow, beautifully said. I want to transition into some questions about your legacy,
Mm-hmm.
your family's legacy. You are
Mm-hmm.
a funeral home legacy. How does
Mm-hmm.
the daily reality of confronting grief in finality in your family business impact your perspective on life and authenticity?
Oh, so the funeral business is very interesting. So you get to be a light and comfort for somebody going through the darkest time in their life. Like we learned, me and my cousin were talking about this the other day. We learned customer service skills really early on, right? And in handling grief. And so you allow people to grieve. You allow people to show emotions. You see the cycles of grief. And so I think it's understanding that you it's not it's you're more a support role. That taught me really just like how to be a support role for any type of situations that come up. Right. Like my grandma said, it's leave people how you found them. Right. So people come to get a service to honor, because funerals are for the living and not for the dead, obviously, right? So they're for the living people to get their pay their last respects and things like that. And so like that's how the whole legacy, that's how the whole business was built. My grandparents had the idea of burying people with dignity and respect, people who probably didn't have a life where they were dignified, right? So it's treating everybody like a celebrity or a star, right? Giving them their flowers and what's due. So I think what I learned about being a light, allowing people to be, emotional and vulnerable, and just how you treat people, right? And that's how that business grew, because through referrals,
Mhm.
right? I had this amazing experience here, right? And it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And so it's really just really good lesson in customer service and how you treat people. We left people better than how we the living better than how we found them.
Beautifully said. Has there ever been a conflict between the professional composure required by the funeral business and the emotional authenticity required by your personal healing?
Say that again.
Has there ever been a conflict between the professional composure required by the funeral business and the emotional, raw authenticity required by your personal healing?
mm, Maybe. I think the best examples of this is, as you know, people are grieving through the process. A lot of times people act out and they say crazy things, and I think and it's really hard to be professional when somebody's cussing at you, whatever, or just acting out of character, right?
Mhm.
And you have to be like, okay, keep in mind they're going through whatever stage of the grieving process it is. Don't take it personal, right? But it's hard, right? It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like anything that was an issue wasn't done on purpose. So I think that's a conflict at times, right? It's like, and you have to allow and just allowing somebody to be disrespectful to you and maintaining professionalism, so I think that would be a conflict, right?
Mhm. Wow. So, what are some lessons about service and community have you drawn you from have you drawn from your family's legacy now that I'm sorry, let me say this again. What lessons about service and community have you drawn from your family's legacy that now fuels your personal passions?
Yes, it's always about the people. Like my grandparents were, when you talk about genuine and down to earth, like they were millionaires in the 90s. This black couple, poor, built this business, and they were millionaires in the 90s, and they were so humble, right? And they always gave back. They knew it was about the people, right? And so it was like always giving back to the community, always giving high customer service. Just like they treated everybody the same. That makes sense.
Mm.
From the janitor to the CEO, whoever, like you was just a human, right? And so that is one thing I, obviously take back. It's like how you treat people, right? Like my grandma said, leave people better than how you found them, right? And that
Mm.
is what they live by. Like their fruits, we know them by their fruits. 80 years, they started a business 80 years ago, and we're still talking about them. We celebrated 75 years, but businesses start way before that. 80 years ago, they had a vision to serve the community, and they did. And we're still talking about them. So, talk about a legacy, right? It's like how you leave people, and then just the care and the service, right? I took that into my business, right? High customer service. Talk to any of my customers, they tell you, she treats me like family. I come back because how I'm treated, how I'm spoken to, right? Things like that. Over and above, over and above, over and above, those are things I have learned. And giving back, like giving back, like they gave back to all kind of things. With one of my favorite stories about them giving back is there was Douglas Bank back in the day. It's not a there, black owned bank,
Okay.
and I think the bank was going under. Two stories actually that tell you about their impact. And I think they needed like so many people to give money, and my grandparents were one of the people who donated enough money to get Douglas Bank back, to where it needed to be. It wasn't even about clout. It was like, oh my God, this is a bank for black people. We're gonna try to save it. My other favorite story I learned, so I'm learning all this history about them, was the Linwood YMCA. At that time, Kansas City wasn't going to build any more YMCA's for Black and Brown people, and they made three phone calls. And so one was to a preacher, to a let's say politician. The third one's to my grandfather, and he was very instrumental in getting the Linwood YMCA built. In fact, his pictures on the wall there. And on top of that, financially sustained the the YMCA until it got on its feet. So talking about giving back, right? Giving back to the community, like it's literally in my genes. It's literally, high quality customer service. It's literally in my gene, in my blood, in my bones.
Wow. Wow. So how does it, I don't think I've asked you this, but how does it feel to be a part of such a just amazing lineage? That name, to know that no matter what, I know you're married now, right? But you still have that name connected to you. Like, how does that feel?
It's amazing. It's amazing, and kind of going through the whole anniversary celebration, the things that we learned and uncovered just really solidified like how honorable it is, to be a Jones, and the impact to the community, right? They served people. It wasn't through lip service. They literally served people at their darkest hour. And so I think it's just humbling, honestly.
I love that. I love that. I have a few more questions for you because I know people tell me all the time. I'd be like, these questions keep flowing.
Well, it's part of the conversation, so yeah.
It is. Okay, so these questions will be about the fusion of the threads concept. So, how do you integrate the lessons of your personal adversity with the unique perspective gained from the funeral home setting to inform your current authenticity?
How to say it again?
How,
Sorry.
how do you
Processing.
how do you integrate the lessons of your personal adversity with unique perspectives gained from the funeral home setting to inform your current authenticity?
Oh, yeah, I think it's just being vulnerable and humble. You know what I mean? Like being a servant leader
Mhm.
is like putting yourself in the shoes of the people that you serve. And so I think when I think about myself, it's like when I learned to be vulnerable and the things that I went through, you know, think whatever, being vulnerable and those lessons of being a servant leadership kind of helped me.
No, beautifully said. If you were to create a fashion line inspired by the theme, the unseen threads, what would be the core message or feeling conveyed by the garments?
Oh, that's easy. I'm wearing them in my shirt. All bodies are good bodies. All bodies are good bodies, right? All curves matter, right? So I think that would be the message is love your body just the way it is. Because all bodies are good bodies. So if I did a line, it would just show all body sizes. A lot of times you see fashion shows and you see only a certain
Mm,
standard. And so one of the things that people loved about 79 Rows, we show real women, real curves, and I think that that's important to continue that message that our bodies are good. Because think about that does to your psyche, that you can't go shopping anywhere. You have to have select places, right? And when you go there, you have one little section, right? And so I think it's just living, rocking your curves authentically. That would be the message.
you got the wheels turning in my head. I'm like, I'm thinking of an event where you're doing your fashion thing, I'm doing the podcast thing, and we collabing. Like you got the wheels turning in my head about some
Right.
type
Doing a
stuff.
live show during doing a live podcast during a fashion show. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that'd be. You know what? You said it. We gotta make it happen. We gotta make it
Okay.
happen. Yes. Okay. Okay. Back to these. I got three more questions.
You're fine.
What is the single biggest misconception people have about someone who is deeply authentic, and how do you handle that reality?
Ooh, misconceptions. It's funny because I think an answer is that they're not really authentic. So being authentic, they think they're being fake, right? And so
Mhm.
it's like you can't always be like this. You can't you know what I mean? You can't always da 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 da. I think that people think when you are authentic that you're not being authentic because it doesn't show up to them how they see you. People have perceptions about us, right? So when you don't show up how they see you, it's like, so I think people think that you're being fake when you're being authentic, if that makes sense.
I don't throw another question in there. That's kind of what we talked about earlier, but about that, um, about insecurities. Like,
Hmm.
what would you say to a person, to individuals that are out there that are watching or will watch about, identifying their insecurities?
So I always kind of talk through brain work. So I just became a certified body image coach. So I'm going to start, offering just like body image, um, like classes because basically it's body positivity. Excuse me, because it's a form of wellness. Loving yourself is a form of wellness, health and wellness, basically. So, going to fall under that. But so, what I tell people, like, let's pick your two things you don't like about your body, then two things you love about your body. And I do that on purpose to exercise because each day is called negativity bias, right? Where our brains are naturally inclined to be negative. When you wake up, like, oh, it's the morning, oh, it's cold, oh, I gotta go to work, right? And so it's really important for us to train our brains, rewire our brains. So when you look in the mirror, like, oh, I hate my arms, like, what are those two things you love about yourself? You have to always act. You have to counteract that negativity with something positive. And that's the first thing I would say. I would say the two things you love about yourself, tape it on the mirror. So when you wake up while you're brushing your teeth, you like change, changing your psyche, rewiring your brain on how you think about yourself. That's how you deal with your insecurities. You have to counter them with what you love about yourself, right? Again, we get these messages every day. You don't look right. You don't look like this. You don't fit this standard. You're just bad, horrible. So we have to learn to rewire our brains on the things that we love about ourselves and what our actual bodies can do. That's what I would say. If you're dealing with any insecurities, write it down, get it out your head, but also write down the things you love about yourself and counter every time that you think about something negative, like, oh, I hate that I have short arms. Oh, but I love my smile. My smile is great. Oh, I hate that I'm short. Oh, but I can find clothes in the petite section, making that up, right? So it's just rewiring your brain to counter. And that's really with anything, the body insecurities, trauma triggers, whatever. Like if you stay in a vein,
Mhm.
right, you're going to stay in a negative vein. So it's teaching rewiring our brains to think differently. And that'd be the first step. I think you would acknowledge I have insecurities. We all have insecurities. Everybody has insecurities. Beyonce has insecurities,
Right.
right? Everybody has insecurities, right? And I use her because she's like the grand poobah of black girls. And so Mrs. Obama has insecurities, right? She has a whole podcast about the things she's learned, things like that. So I think it's articulating them. However, countering them with something positive.
So with that, you being that you had these insecurities about yourself before you got married, how did that help you have a better understanding with your future husband before you got married with those insecurities? Did he know? Did you let him know? Did you work through them beforehand doing?
I think we worked through it like through the marriage. You know what I mean? And so I don't honestly think we've been together for like 20 years now at this point. So I think that's just part of it, like part of growing as a human. Like the person I was when I got married at 28 is not the same person that I am at 46. Right. And so it is like, and then my husband was really good about like really helping me counter those things. Like, why would I care about that? I married, you know what I mean? Married you, right? So I think he was really good about helping me counter that negativity too. And just being supportive in general.
Mhm. Okay. Husband, where you at? I'm saying for me, where you at? Right?
Where it's like, what is Sierra? Find Sierra's prayer.
Right. What is her prayer? This
What
thing.
is Sierra's prayer?
Right. And her hooking up all those other people and they end up getting married. Come on now.
Right.
But I still need to work on myself. So don't come too soon, husband. I'm still working on me.
But give yourself grace. I think no one's perfect, and I'm glad that you are working on yourself so you don't bring those things into it. But there's some things that somebody else might be able to help you work out too. So just be open to that.
True. True. I'm a little, but you know what? When I say my issues, I got to get past some stuff about this finding some issues. They be like, I don't like him because he like this, or he do that, or he say that, or he did this. Yeah, I'm working through it. Working through it.
You got this. You got this.
Okay, so transitioning to this next question, next to last question. What are you currently doing to nurture the next phase of your authenticity, knowing that it's a constant evolving
Mm.
process?
I'm wanting to rewire my brain and unlearn things that I know that were or kind of maybe destructive, things that we just been great and talked, and it's just like
Mhm.
question everything, and not just falling for the okey doke because I was told or taught to do something, but really questioning everything. But learning to rewire my brain, like it's that the things again. I think I'm talking about being protective of what I allow in my spirit, what I allow in my circle, what I allow around me. That is to me in is how that self-care, that self-preservation is protecting what I allow to be consumed by my brain.
Beautifully said. All right. We got this last question here. For a listener who feels fragmented by their past,
Mm.
what is the one step they can take today to start weaving their own diverse threads into a stronger, more authentic whole?
Talk about it. Talk about it and get it out of your head. Stop dwelling on it, right? And then when I talk about it, I mean talk about with, if possible, with a professional. people who are trained to help you process. A lot of times we hold on to things because we haven't processed them and don't know how to process them. And because it's not for us to help process, for somebody to help us process it. If you really want to get unstuck, find the right person, the right service, the right mental health coach. There's coaches, there's therapists, there's all kind of, but go there. Those people are trained to help you process your feelings. And I know sometimes we have different stigmas about it. Like, I need to go. Go. Everybody needs therapy. Pastors go and get therapy. The people you follow on social media that you love, the gurus, they all in therapy, boo boo. I'm telling you, they are. So I would say start processing your emotions. What they say, depression is basically feel all the feelings being held in,
Hmm.
you've not been able to communicate and articulate it. Go talk to somebody, right? And if you don't, if you, and I know like resources or whatever, but like find somebody that you trust. That's and I kind of say that with just thinking about somebody that has good fruit. I'll start with that one, right? Because I don't want you talking to the wrong person and tell your business and don't help you at all. But find somebody that you trust, that's in a safe, that you know has your best interest at heart, that can guide you. But like you have to get it out of your head. And I think that's one thing that people go, I'm gonna get myself together and I'm gonna do all this. And it's like, no, get some help. Like if you could help yourself, you wouldn't be in a situation. If you were supposed to help yourself, you wouldn't be in the situation that you're at. And it's not, and the other thing to remember is that everybody is going through it. Everybody's going through something. Everybody's going through something. The people that you follow again on the socials, the people that you look up to, they all going through something. And it's just how you handle it. But articulate it, talk about it, get it out of your head, get it off your chest. I think you talked about earlier about being angry. Being angry is not being able to articulate your feelings. That's a part of it because you don't know how to say or who to trust. And I think that's why a lot of people do walk around unhealed because they're not articulating. They're not getting out of their head and they're stuck. And it's easy to get stuck, right?
Hmm.
And it's easy, but find your safe space. Get out of your head. If you can get therapy or whatever it is, I would tell you one HR nugget. If you have a job, each job has an employee EAP program, and each EAP program offers free therapy, and it's confidential. Trust me, nobody nobody knows who you went to what for. And you can change therapists if you don't find it a fit. But that's the easiest way. I feel like people who might be averse to therapy, go through your EAP program and kind of let them find the right, help them for HR nugget, find a solution for you, and you can go for free. So anyway, but talk to somebody. All I'm trying to say is talk to somebody and get it out of your head.
That's real good. I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm like, okay, nugget, nugget, nugget here, nugget there.
And
Like,
it's free. Like companies pay EAP for their employees, and it's confidential. And you can use it multiple times throughout the year for different things. You know what I mean? Let's just say you need somebody to talk through to help you with a relationship problem. You get like 3 free, whatever. And then you can call back later throughout the year. Maybe you're having a problem at work that you need somebody to help. You know what I mean? So it's the most underutilized free benefit that employers offer to. But get therapy, get some help.
I mean, before we wrap up, because you're flowing. Speak to our Black women about
Mm.
mental health, insecurities, or even the simple fact of anything they may be struggling with.
First off, yes, 'cause this is something I struggle with too. I'm a big sister. I'm the oldest of eight, and kind of like the responsible one everybody always goes through. Take off the superwoman cape. Do not, and it's really hard to do, right? But Black women, take off the cape. You don't got to fix everything for everybody. Put your own oxygen mask on first, and that's the hardest thing to do because like we're naturally women in general naturally nurturers, right? And then Black women, we fix stuff. We see problems, we fix it. That's just who we are, how we are like wired. but you don't have to be everything to everybody. Be good to yourself first. And self care to me, obviously, is of course, is bubble baths and getting your nails done. But self care really is taking care of your brain and your mind, right? So I would say to my queens, black queens, put your own oxygen mask on first, boo. Take care of yourself. You know, you don't take off that superwoman cape because it's heavy. And that when we carry the cape and carry everyone's burdens, that's stopping us from taking care of ourselves, our own stuff, right? And then we get to these times where you feel like lonely or no one understands you, or it's because you're not taking care of yourself, right? So take off the superhero cape and just compliment your sister. Like there's so many messages that telling us that we wrong and our hair should look a certain way and our bodies is too thick and all these things, and just like just these circles, create these circles of love and trust with your fellow sisters.
Mm, okay, that's really good. I was like really deep into that, and I was just like, and then you stopped talking, and I was like, oh, okay, she's done. I was ready for you to keep going.
I was gonna keep. I was like, let me stop. Let me stop. Let me stop.
You are not talking too much. I was like, look, she ain't said enough. I mean, you got more to say, then go ahead, But I don't look. If you don't, then that's fine too.
I think that's really it. I think we have the expectation that 'cause we, like I said, black girls are naturally fixers. We fix problems and we focus on. I see, like, and those things become distractions for us dealing with our own stuff. That's one thing I do see, right? We're so busy helping everybody else and so busy doing whatever that we don't take time to fulfill our own selves. And that's where like bitterness and loneliness start to creep in. Cause like, what about me? Well, nobody care about me, but you're not allowing people to care about you because you always taking care of others. And this is the pot calling the kettle here. So that's just kind of one thing that I'm learning. It's like rest and rest. I saw something online. I just kind of giggled. It said, "Black girls don't get bored. They go back to college, right?" And it's like who is the highest ranking degree person in America? Black women, right? And so, right, because we know we need the education to fix problems, right? So all that to say is invest in yourself as much as you invest in others. And it's easier said than done, trust me. Trust me, trust me, trust me. But invest in yourself as much as you invest in others. And be okay saying no. I can't make it. Or just being okay saying no while you're sitting at home in your robe on your Netflix binge. You know anybody anything because that just might be what you need to to re up your strength or whatever. And this is coming from a person who rips and runs and rips and runs.
And that includes the kids too, right? Telling
Oh,
them,
I don't even. That's a whole podcast for another day. These kids.
yeah, but beautifully said. Before we wrap this up, is there anything that I did not ask, or you did not mention that you would like to mention?
You know, I have a I have a journal and I have a 30-day affirmation journal and I have a 30-day affirmation card deck. And both of them are just created from working with my customers as resources to help them rewire their brains on how they see themselves. And so you can get those at 79rose.com. But all that to say, find whatever resources. And then my next campaign is Pretty at Any Size be dropping pretty soon. And that just what it means. It's really self explanatory. You are pretty at any size that you are. So just embrace the body journey that life takes you through. Just embrace it. Don't fight it. Even if you're losing weight, you know what I'm saying? Or even if you're trying to gain weight, but know that you are pretty at any size and that you are your own beauty standard. Those will be my final words.
Okay, all right, beautifully said. I'm gonna do my introduction, but you got to stay though because not too many people like to dance with me. So we're gonna dance our way out of the podcast. You gonna vibe with me?
Hey,
Okay, all
hey,
right, well, okay,
hey.
all right. So that was a truly powerful exploration of how pain transforms into purpose. My sincere thanks to the incredible Latoya Rosoff Jones for sharing her journey on the unseen threads, how overcoming personal adversity fuels authenticity. Her perspective is a vital reminder that our struggles are not obstacles, but the very fuel for living an authentic life. If Latoya's story resonated with you, please help us weave this message into this message of resilience by heading over to YouTube, finding Persperity Podcast, that's Persperity, hitting that like button and clicking that bell, and take the moment to share this episode with someone who is currently working to turn their adversity into authenticity. Thank you for joining us, and I'll be back next Monday with a guest. Until next time, remember, mindful moments for prosperous lives. Let's dance.
Hey, hey. This is a vibe. This is a
It
vibe. Hey,
In the
hey,
shadows we
hey,
find our
hey,
light. Through the
hey,
struggles we'll build,
hey,
take flight.
hey,
Healing
Healing
hearts
hey,
and
and
mending
mending
minds.
minds.
Together
Together
we'll
we'll
leave
be
the past behind.
better.
Welcome to Prosperity
Come on,
Podcast, where hope
okay.
meets
hey.
smile.